approval of the minutes from the June 23rd meeting. Anybody have any errors, omissions, changes?
I didn't see anything.
Pat, you got anything? No. Somebody like to make a motion to approve that?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Motion to approve by Colbundi, seconded by Bart. Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. First public comment. Anyone wishing to comment may do so at this time. Please come to the podium if you'd like to speak and state your name and address. Anyone wanting to speak right now? Okay. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, I will.
Okay.
My name is Ann Morrison Perry, and I live at 54 South Long Lake Road. My house lies in Long Lake Township, but my connected yard is in Green Lake Township, and we own a small parcel across the road, which is in Green Lake Township. I appreciate being here. I'd like to urge the Township Board to proactively protect our inland waters in Green Lake Township by adopting the language Long Lake Township's upland dredging ordinance, specifically section 4.19. I've brought copies of that ordinance language for your review if you'd like them, and I'll just leave those here.
Thank you.
This ordinance was crafted in 2022 by Chris Bisstock, a respective environmental attorney hired by Long Lake Township to craft language to prohibit the dredging and excavation of lands above the ordinary high water mark. Adopting this exact wording would protect our Green Lake Township shoreline from erosion, prevent concentrated chemical contaminants from entering our lakes, and safeguard critical fish and wildlife habitats. Doing this is also fiscally responsible. Long Lake Township already paid the legal fees to vet this ordinance. We can protect our riparian rights and our owners without duplicating those legal fees and expenses. I ask you to consider the 7-generation principle, an ancient Iroquois philosophy which requires leaders and individuals to base present-day choices on how they will impact descendants 7 generations into the future. It emphasizes sustainable stewardship of the earth, community well-being, and ethical responsibility over self and short-sighted interests. In this spirit, I ask the township to enact an immediate moratorium on excavating or channeling above the ordinary high water mark in the lakes of Green Lake Township, while drafting a permanent ordinance to prohibit these activities. Thank you for your time, your service, and your dedication to protecting all that we value in Green Lake Township. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else like to comment at this time? Okay. We'll move on from the public comment. Anyone on the board have a conflict of interest for tonight's proceedings? No?
None.
All good? Okay. Correspondence. Has everyone taken a look at all the correspondence we have? We have several pieces of letters to the township regarding what's on the agenda tonight, so I don't know if everybody had time to peruse these letters. Okay. Pat, need a little more time?
Take a lot of time. Go ahead.
Okay. There's quite a bit, so. Okay, so we're going to go to new business. PREZ-26-002, a public hearing to receive and discuss public comment for consideration given relative to a request for a rezoning from the R1 to R
Long Lake Road. And across the street is a vacant parcel of land that's approximately 10 acres in Long Lake Township and 40 acres in Green Lake Township. And that 40 acres is zoned R1. And I want to put up a pole barn. When I came in to talk to your planner, he said that I could put up a pole barn, but I'd have to put a residence with it. And it might be smarter for me to ask for rezoning to R5 because it's consistent with what you want to do with the master plan, I think, that's out there. So that's the nature of the request. Just to build a pole barn without a residence.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay. At this time, 6:11, I'd like to open public comment for PREZ-26-002. So if you would, yes, please step up, name, address, and is that one?
I don't think it's on. My name is Roger Ransom, and I live in East Jordan right now. The property that I own in Green Lake Township is right to the east of Mr. Barnes. And it's a big chunk of wild area back in there. And I know that some development is eventually going to take place, but I think a rezoning of that into something different than R1 might create some problems. And so I would hope that you would take everything into consideration as far as the property back there. I know Long Lake has a nice park back there off from South Long Lake Road, and I believe Green Lake Township has some property over by Bass Lake that is recreational wildlife type property. And so I would like to try to keep that as wild as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to comment at this time? This is the open part of the public hearing, so. State your name again, please.
Yes, I'm Ann Morrison Perry. I'm back. I live at 54 South Long Lake Road. My roadside property is in Green Lake Township, and a teeny tiny parcel is across the road adjacent to Robert Barnes's large 43-acre parcel. I am here tonight to urge the Planning Commission and the Township Board to take immediate action on a critical land use issue to protect our community's quiet character, public safety, and delicate ecosystems. I strongly request that you deny the rezoning application for parcel ID 280700300100 at South Long Lake Road, moving this 43-acre parcel from R1 to R5 opens a dangerous loophole. Under R5 rules, the owner can build an accessory building
Well, it's to be able to record it for what's on.
Batteries?
There you go. Oh, thank you, sorry about that. No. It picks up on the video better this way too.
Okay. Under R5 rules, an owner can build an accessory building without building a home. I have grave concerns that this reclassification is specifically intended to bypass standard protections, construct a private helicopter storage facility, and lay the groundwork for a residential helipad. As a retired science teacher, I believe a residential flight zone has many detrimental aspects. These include helicopters producing intense low-frequency thumping and whining sounds during takeoff and landing that disturb the peaceful atmosphere in a neighborhood. Flights are disruptive of a neighborhood's peace and quiet. They disturb sleep, outdoor relaxation, and remote work. Rotor wash creates powerful downwinds from spinning blades which can blow dust, gravel, and loose debris into the air and into neighboring properties. Crash risks are created with low-altitude approaches and departures near houses, power lines, and trees, increasing the danger of accidents. As a current realtor, it has been found that proximity to a private landing site can lower nearby home values and make properties harder to sell due to stigma and noise factors. Aviation fuel smells and exhaust emissions degrade local air quality during operations. Rotor noise and activity agitate and scare away local birds, pets, and neighborhood wildlife. Furthermore, Green Lake Township already possesses a dedicated municipal airfield on Carlin Road. Local aviation needs can be met there without intruding on residential neighborhoods. Please consider that 7 generations again when you're making decisions regarding this property request. Leaders and individuals do need to base present-day choices on how they'll impact descendants 7 generations into the future. I ask the township to deny this request and enact an immediate moratorium on private landing sites while drafting a permanent ban. Thank you for your time, your service, and your dedication to protecting the residents of Green Lake Township, and I don't take your work lightly. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me,
We can-
ma'am? Does your property abut to Mr. Barnes's?
Yes, it does. But it's so tiny, my winter taxes were 78 cents. Seriously.
Okay.
Is that all you need?
Yep,
Okay, but
that's
it's
all
very-
I
it's a-
wanted to know.
If you look at the gate that goes into his property, it's just to the right of that. It's a triangle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment at this time?
My name's Patricia Rogan. I live on 4127 Shady Grove, Diamond Park Association. Mine has nothing to do so much with what this issue is, although I happen to, I have concerns, okay? My issue is I fear the precedent of changing that because of my association. We have a number of lots that are not connected to other property, and a number of people who have talked about wanting to build a pole barn there, but not wanting to build a house because they live across. And it has the potential of really harming our little neighborhood over there, Diamond Park. So I would ask that you greatly consider that I don't want this to be a door that opens this as a precedence for other people. It's been a big issue in our neighborhood, I know, so, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak at this time? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm Laura Stasiak. I live at 70 South Long Lake Road, just across the road from Mr. Barnes' property. I agree with everything that Ann Morrison-Perry stated. My biggest concern is a possible helicopter pad over there. It's so peaceful in our neighborhood. We love the quiet. That's why we're here. We didn't want to live by a landing strip of any sort. So that concerns me, and the safety of it. I don't care for that. Makes me a little nervous having a helicopter so close. And the last thing is the property value. If I was looking to buy a house to move somewhere, and I found out the house I was looking at was across from a helicopter pad and they're going in and out, that would be a red flag for me. And so I don't want that to affect the neighborhood and everyone else who's there. So those are my concerns.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to speak at this time? Okay. We have no other speakers. We will close the public hearing portion of PREZ-26-002 at 6:22. Open for discussion. Anyone have any thoughts, concerns that they would like to discuss? Pat?
I guess the neighbors seem to know a bit more than we do as far as possible intended uses for the property. The request was for go from 1 acre lots to 5 acre lots minimum. I think normally most people would be happy with less density, but it seems there's suspicion that maybe a helicopter traveling back and forth to the property. So I guess my thought was like another 30 days to explore this helicopter system.
Okay, anyone else have any discussion or thoughts on this?
If there was a helicopter involved in this thing, we're not going to connect it. We don't have any control over that anyway.
I guess I'd like to speak to it a little bit. The application presented in front of us has nothing on it about a helicopter. I mean, so for us, this is really as hearsay. We don't, nobody has approached us about wanting to put a helicopter pad up. We don't control what the FAA would require on flight paths. We don't control density requirements or for private pads around people. So we're talking about something that hasn't even been applied for at this board. If you look at our master plan, which we have spent quite a bit of time on a couple years ago here and adopted, it does have that area of the township becoming the R5 district because it does abut a lot of state land back in there, a lot of county land back in there, and the idea of that, where we do have an increase in R1 in the township in certain areas, but we decreased it in areas where it wasn't as feasible to split property, to put more homes in. So this really was an attempt to actually create land that was less apt to be developed. So the request is for R5 and to put a barn on it, but we can't really speak to dredging and, in the Green Lake Township, there are some, in the correspondence here about dredging and about a moratorium on helicopter stuff. I'm not opposed to having that discussion on our board to decide what I think what we ought to look into, but right now, that's not what's before us and being applied for. And it's not something that I personally think we should jump on without actually having discussion, a thoughtful discussion on it. If we just throw a moratorium on, then what are we saying? We can't land helicopters at our airport? We need to have some thoughtful discussion about that. And I don't even know what the FAA regulations are for, you know, landing a helicopter on private property or within a certain distance between residences and any of that stuff, so. You know, my thought is we as a board need to stick to what the application is and what the long-term goal of the township is to protect, you know, protect the land. We obviously want to be good stewards of the land in the township. I just think we need to address the issues that are before us. I don't think we can speak to issues that aren't even applied for. So if somebody can tell me that's a fact, that that's what's going to happen, then we can talk about it, but that's not what we have in front of us here.
It seemed to me if it weren't for the helicopter issue, most of the concern is development and density, and this actually kind of addresses that, going from R1 to R5.
I believe so, myself.
And the reality is, if we were to postpone or deny it, it's happening at some point. It's already been passed. It's just speeding things along, trying to get to our master plan goal sooner. Is that accurate? I mean, this, like you said, it's going to propose to go to R5.
I think so too. Anyway, go ahead.
I have a question for Mr. Barnes, and that is it your intention to construct a helipad on the property?
Well, I think I would like to, but that's, I'm talking about a pole barn for storing, you know, bolts and other stuff. If I could put a helicopter in there, I would.
But your request only indicates that you'd like to build a large pole barn, correct?
That's true. I mean, I don't even have a drawing yet. Before I got to even that, it's, you know, I'm just asking what the requirements are. And we're not talking about a helicopter, we're talking about rezoning from R1 to R5. What that's got with my intentions in the future, I'm not sure. But that's what I'm asking you for. And it's consistent with your master plan, okay, that for whatever reason you don't want to do that, then I shouldn't have come. I thought this is what you wanted me to do.
Well, this is your request, so it's up to what you are requesting, not, you know, whatever you might have discussed to come here or to fill out application, that is, your application is in front of this board, and we're only here to discuss what you apply for. It's not what we want you to do. It's what you're requesting. I just want to make that clear. This is your request, so.
Does that have something to do with the helicopter?
Your request has nothing to do with helicopters.
Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, we're not approving the pole barn, just the rezoning.
Yeah.
Just a rezoning. So I just said, you know, let's say hypothetically, if you didn't do it, I mean, in R1, you know, you'd have to put a house up and a barn, but you could still have a helicopter, and if everybody else agreed to it, FAA and everybody else, so nothing would change in that department.
And that's very true. I mean, the reality is, if he put in a tennis court and wanted to land his helicopter on his tennis court, and the FAA says he can land on his tennis court, he can land on his tennis court.
Beyond what we control, I guess.
Beyond what we control, that's true. So, we're not, I mean, we have to stick to what we're actually being requested of. So, a lot of the rest of this is hearsay and what you plan to do in the future. If you don't have anything drawn up, you don't have anything drawn up, so.
Well, I think they're gonna draw something with the kitchen and a bathroom, or without it. That's why.
Yeah, that's a later,
Drawings, and I'll bring it in, and then
That's a
whoever approves that.
whole different process.
yeah. You guys have any thoughts down there?
How large was the proposed building? I don't remember.
Hasn't been determined yet, but I suspect, you got a little bit off guard here because I'm guessing about things, right? I was working on planning to see how large and where to locate it, which way it faces and whatnot, and then I went in to look at the regulations, and the man explained to me that under the current regulation, I would have to also include a
Okay. Thank you.
Our master plan calls for all of that area to eventually go to R5, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wouldn't have a problem with building a structure or changing the zoning with it, but I would certainly like to know just how large this proposed building is.
That'll all be down the road anyways, and you'll talk about that and determine whether or not it's permissible, so.
I know. At this time, I mean, that's not the request before us. It's
Yeah.
simply to change the
Oh,
zoning to
hypothetical.
what our master plan says. It is. That is the only request that we have before us. Everything else that he might do, might not do is conjecture and suspicion, and we cannot base our decision. We can base our decisions on the quality of life and what is best for the township, not on who might try to take advantage of that in the future or misuse it for their own benefit. That we hope people don't do, but that's not what the question is here, so.
The reality is, we've already agreed as a board that area should be R5. It's just the timing of it, it's really what we're talking about.
Yeah, and the public was part of that whole
Yeah.
master plan deal. Everybody had input on
For a year.
where to do it. We did it for a year, so we're not trying to ask, he's not asking for anything that's not already,
Nothing special.
yeah, it's not out of the ordinary here, so. My own opinion that, yeah, there are some things that we could discuss. Actually, I don't mind if we want to discuss dredging. I don't mind if we want to discuss what we can do as an addition to our zoning districts, whether it's restrictions on private helicopter pads or whatever it may be. I don't mind having that discussion. I just think that we'll have to schedule that into another meeting and have a discussion about that and then address that issue in one at a time. I mean, right now, I think we are just talking about one thing here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is just step one. This is kind of just addressed to the audience. I mean, there are obviously concerns, but we're not able to really address those now. So if you see them coming up, I would encourage you to come back when those subjects are actually going to be discussed and talked about and give your input. But they're not on the agenda as
Yeah.
it is.
When is the proposed master plan
It is already. Yeah, I know this happened before you got onto the board, but yes, it's already in effect. It's just every time someone wants to make a change or request a change to their zoning, as long as they're wanting to change it into what the zoning, the new master plan says, then generally it doesn't require quite as much in the way of hoops to jump through to try to do that. So if he was trying to request from R5 back to R1, then he would have a much more difficult time because it's the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish over there. We're trying to get low density in that area and keep it more natural, so.
And it sounds as though if it stays R1, he's probably just going to build a bigger building to accommodate the other additional requirements, possibly.
But he could build a big house
Right.
there or a big barn dominium house there and
And
he
at
could still
R1,
accomplish
he
the
could
same goal.
Build 43 of them if it's R1 instead of
Yeah.
8.
I think Mr. Ransom wanted to be recognized.
That's fine, yes, sir.
I would just comment that if he decides to put a pole barn over there with bathroom and stuff, at least we'll have some idea about sanitation in there. So if there's a bathroom, it has to be, the drain field and that kind of stuff. So.
He would have to meet all the requirements of the Grand Traverse County Health Department in order to do that.
Yeah, so I think, or at
Wouldn't that be the same?
But then
whether
he-
it's R1 or R5 if you have a bathroom?
You'd have to do the same thing for either one. It doesn't, just because you're at R5, if you want to put a bathroom in, it doesn't allow you to skip any of the regulation.
I'm saying if you put a pole barn there by itself, he's going to be required to have a health inspection.
If he wants a bathroom, he would.
Because
Because he'll have to have water supply in order to make it work.
I'm saying though, it was just a pole barn by itself.
Then if it's a pole barn with no bathroom, then he doesn't need to apply for a septic and well permit.
I'm saying if it's a pole barn and he has to put a bathroom in, then we'll have some control about the pollution.
Sure. I mean, right now, he's in residential, so he could conceivably, without even worrying about, he could split that property several times and put several houses in there, which would all require their own drain field and well. So, I mean, we're talking about actually trying to limit that by making this an R5 district and not allowing for page in the back.
But as I look at the map, it looks
He's R5.
like he would be R5 already.
He is R5.
Yeah.
This is all that, R5.
And,
This is our new,
yeah,
what we
yeah,
want to do.
Yeah,
to
I
put
know,
it all to
our
R5.
intention is to make that whole area into that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pat?
I was gonna say, I think you made a good point. Keeping it R1 is not gonna slow down a helipad 1 second. So, R1, R5, same.
Yeah, he has the property, so if he can manage to meet all the requirements, which I have no idea what they are, of the FAA and, you know, any of that stuff, he could easily do it on the property he has now because he owns the property, so it's just a matter of, if we do it this way, at least we're preventing splitting.
Yeah. 43 helipads instead of 8.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, you know,
Yes.
I think we have to address one issue at a time, but I believe a lot of concerns have been brought up, which make a lot of sense to have a discussion and further, you know, thought into, but I don't believe that in this case it's going to prevent anything, you know,
or other things that the health department would
I believe there were some other concerns that,
I think they move forward on it all, maybe can state them.
right now, we're just waiting. There's just, I mean, really, we can have a discussion here, but I think we all need to see what's gonna come down the line.
Holding pattern.
Basically, are in a holding pattern.
Weren't we waiting on some information from Michigan
Yeah,
Township
yes,
Association?
they're still working on it.
And we're still waiting.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're still waiting. Jason? Yeah, as of Monday, we're still waiting. Pat?
We are waiting, which hopefully they'll save us some or maybe a lot of work, but we're on a 6 month timetable as possible an extension. We may have to give up on the MTA if they don't come through and do it ourselves from scratch here pretty quick. Meet our deadlines.
I believe that right now, this is our third month. Or is this only our second meeting since that? So it's only been 2 months. Yeah, it's only been 2 months. It's been 3 meetings ago we discussed, but it's been, the board, it's been 2 months for us, okay? So we still have a hot second here to see if we can come up with something. But I get where you're going with it. I mean, I would love to have someone else craft something. It would save us a whole lot of work, but, yeah.
There's a lot of people working on it.
Yeah. Anybody else have any comments about, thoughts about it?
Burns.
Okay with that too. Okay. Moving on, if nobody has any objections. We have no other business. Liaison report from zoning board of appeals.
We had one, first one to have a new build and usual properties and large properties we have. But, for the not gonna be used, or sort of interfering with their process along with wetlands. They needed a setback change, and we approved it, so, nothing real big.
That's the property that's located across from Bud's. There's that red building there. There's actually a plotted road that goes next to that red building into the back of that, back there.
Ghost Road.
Yeah. So, but the county has no intention of ever,
Yeah, they said they're never gonna do anything with
Is
it.
that the parcel on the west side?
it's on the west side of the road, yes, and it's back behind that red,
Yep.
yeah.
Over
Which-
Ghost Road.
I was never back there until I actually went back there with my wife to look at it, so, yeah. Alrighty, cool. Second public comment, we have no public left. Would you like to comment? Okay, then I guess we don't have any.
You're more than the public.
Any further discussion? Somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will.
Motion to adjourn by Barb. Seconded by Schwarm.
Nobody wants to leave?
All those in favor? Aye. All
Aye.
opposed?
A unanimous consent.
No, that was,